Welcome to Centered Sunday with the Resilient Me. We are on part 3 of our Make Room for the Glow challenge, and July 21st through the 27th, we're going to focus on clearing our emotional space. Now, I want you guys to drop a comment below and let me know what you believe emotional clutter is, and maybe even some ways, if you feel like sharing with the group, especially if you're in the private Facebook group, some ways that you've actually experienced that and how you've cleared it. So, my definition of emotional clutter would be emotional wreckage, wounds that you may have experienced from childhood, even through adulthood. I mean, even as early as maybe you've allowed things to accumulate, painful things to accumulate over the last couple months or even a couple weeks. Those areas of emotional clutter, it's time for us to clear them out. Now, why is this important? You know, I always had to have a why. I got to have a reason, right? Well, recently in cutting edge science and epigenetics, it's been identified that emotional clutter can affect us on a cellular level, meaning that it can affect the genes that turn off and on our immune system and our aging process. In addition, painful emotional clutter has been shown to travel across generations. Yes, generations. So that would mean those families that may have experienced going through some sort of war, right? Or trauma in that regard, slavery, the Holocaust, cultural injustices. We can literally transfer our emotional clutter through people, family members we will never meet or see or be able to tell our story, but they will be living with our emotional clutter in their genes. Now, there are several types of emotional clutter. Sometimes we may call it baggage, trauma, adversity, pain from our past, whatever it may be. It could be something that was done to us. It could be something that we've done to others, or even things that we've done to ourselves. It limits our ability to regulate our emotions overall and limits our ability to have a fulfilling life. It affects our physical well-being and most of all our immune system. So that is why I want to focus on us clearing our emotional space this particular week. And I mean, really take some time. I know, depending on how traumatic the area was that you experienced in your life, it may not be something that you can get through in a day. You might even want to seek a therapist, or you might want to seek out a family member or a close friend to walk you through this. But I'm going to share the ways that I clear emotional clutter pretty much on a daily, weekly basis. Okay, so you guys know I'm big into meditation, and it's one of the ways that I stay connected and close to God, and I also stay close to myself. Because sometimes, especially is when we can fool ourselves and make ourselves think like I'm strong, I'm good, I'm okay, I don't need nothing, and then you wondering why you just have a breakdown over like the slightest thing, like I got a flat tire. Oh my God! Like we haven't taken the time to clear our emotional clutter. So this is how I do it. This is my process. So the first thing I do is I get into step one is get into a very quiet space. I usually turn my phone on do not disturb, and I make sure that I am not going to be interrupted by anything or anyone, right? And so while I am in that particular space, I like to recall the circumstance that is upsetting me in that moment. And then I will identify the emotion that I'm feeling. So if it's a particular, maybe you had a conversation with a family member or a friend that really upset you and you feel betrayed. Maybe you shared some information with them that later came full circle around through the family or through a group of friends, and you feel betrayed. So I'm going to go through that emotion. I'm feeling betrayed, I'm feeling abandoned, I'm feeling like I'm alone, right? Because family and friends, they're not cannot be consistent, and sometimes you never know. So once I identify that, I want to know, where am I feeling this in my body? They're called feelings for a reason. So the hormonal experience has a physical experience as well. Sometimes we can feel tightness in the gut. Sometimes for me, a lot, I will feel pressure in my chest, and even you can feel it like in your throat as well. It could be tightness. It could feel like you're choking. I mean, it could be several different sensations. But once you're recalling the circumstance, you identify the feeling, whether it's guilt, anger, shame, betrayal, whatever you're feeling, identify the feeling. And then I need you to identify the feeling within your actual body. Now, this next step, that was step 3. Step 4 is going to sound complicated, but it's really not complicated. Let me tell you why. We need to take responsibility for what we're feeling. And I don't mean responsibility in the fact that you're guilty. You should feel ashamed. But I mean take responsibility, because when we take responsibility, we regain our power. Often when we say someone hurt me, or someone injured me, or this person did this or that to me, or they broke my trust, or I'm so disappointed in them, we're blaming them and we're stating they're the cause of my pain. Now, if I blame you and I say you're the cause of my pain, guess what? That person is the one who has the authority to now restore you and bring healing. But in reality, I have control over how I respond to my emotional turbulence. I can choose how to respond. And if I can choose how to respond, that means I am in control and I have to take responsibility for it. So now I take responsibility and blame off that person. Yes, they were wrong. They shouldn't have done that. Or even yourself, if you did something wrong. Of course, it's easier to take responsibility. Like, man, I really shouldn't have said that. I went too far. I lost it. I flipped out, cussed somebody out, whatever it is, right? So you take responsibility and then you strip them of that power, right? And now I have the ability to release and heal myself, because when we allow the other person to hold, well, we assign the other person blame, they're the only ones that can restore us and heal us. And I need to heal myself, because I ain't got time to be waiting on you to say you're sorry, okay? Some people will never, ever, ever say they're sorry. And then you'll be walking around angry. I know you guys have probably seen that quote or meme that says, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to be impacted. Guess what? They're not. So you have to take it on upon yourself to engage in your own healing process. You're not responsible for who hurt you, but you are responsible for your healing. So the 4th step is to now release that. And the way I release it is I usually do it with box breath. And those of you that have watched a couple of my meditations on Instagram, a box breath is 4 counts in, so 4 counts of inhalation, 4 counts hold the breath, 4 counts release the breath, and then 4 counts hold the breath again. So it's a full box, square. And as I do that, I imagine the pain melting away. So whether it's that physical sensation in your stomach, or pressure in your chest, or in your throat. I'm telling you all, a week ago, I think I was going through a similar situation. And it's so funny, like whenever I create a challenge, y'all, this challenge is not really just for you. I definitely do it too. And I was feeling like a tightness in my chest, and I was trying to do my meditation and I was struggling. And so I asked myself, okay, I said, the pain is here for a reason. Sometimes we don't even know, especially when you're so busy, you're just moving and you're doing and you're trying to produce and you're trying to accomplish stuff. Sometimes we're not really, we tied into our emotions, especially those of us that just be like, whatever, I'm going to move on. I don't have time to be stressed out, right? It'll still manifest in your body. So I had to ask myself, okay, pain, what are you trying to show me? What emotion am I not dealing with that needs to be dealt with? So I began to do the box breath, and I felt the tightness here in my chest. Like I couldn't even really like deeply inhale as I normally do in my meditation. So I allowed that to be revealed to me. Then I began to work through that emotion. And as I worked through the emotion and I started to replace my negative thoughts or the sensations that I was feeling with positive affirmations, things that God has told me about myself and about my purpose and my progress and my plan, that as I begin to take in those deep breaths, and every time I release, I imagine that pain going, and I lean more into God's plan and affirmations for my life, the pain and the sensation begin to go. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I'll get pain here, like up in my neck, especially back here in my shoulders, and usually in my chest. That's where I experience it. So I want you guys to focus this week. Take some time. If you can do every day, do every day. But sometimes that can be really, really draining. But if you do it every day, if you just at least check in with yourself emotionally every day, you're more likely to be free of emotional clutter, a lot quicker than if you let it go for a long period of time. So that is our Centered Sunday for today. Let me know your thoughts below. Also, come join us in the private Facebook group where we can chat more. I would love to see more of my sisters in there, and so we can get connected, get a vibe going, and help build and strengthen each other. Empowered women, empower women. All right, I will see you next Sunday with part 4. Love y'all. Peace.